What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Lioness Lair. It is Celebration Sunday night. It is golf on Green Bay. We finally get to not rant today. Yes! So joining me tonight is my lovely co-host, Lady Lionor. How are you doing tonight?
I'm awesome tonight, Val. How are you?
We are having a good day today. I hope y'all are celebrating, drinking. I mean, it's always a good time when Aaron Rodgers cries.
Yeah. His hissy fit on the field today. There were a lot of good parts of this game, but that was the best part of the game.
And shout out to poor Tom Grossi tonight, who did the live play-by-play, and then he did a parody afterwards, even including the Bears and the Vikings reaction to the game today. And the poor guy, at the end of, if you didn't get to see his broadcast, he gets called up by a fellow friend who says, "Hey, Tom, you want to join me in the liquor cabinet?" And Tom Grossi says, "Nah, I think a better idea is to go down to the local gas station and chug gasoline." So, yay, FTP, baby.
Yeah, after the couple of decades the Packers have had, my sympathy is limited. FTP. I'm so happy. I mean, who predicted an exciting 15-9 Green Bay Detroit slugfest? Who had that on their 2022 NFL bingo card?
Who had a shutout in the first half for the Lions?
Yeah.
Who had that on their card? Yeah, and I can tell this is going to be fun with certain players on the Lions game today because I know how y'all feel about certain players and you know how I feel about them, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So, what were your insights in today's game? Like, let's go over the offense. What did you see?
Oh, offense today. Well, let's see. I want to do just a little bit of comparison based on some of the stats coming into the game. Red zone touchdown percentage. The Lions are third in the league. When we get into the red zone, we score touchdowns 72% of the time. Today, we were 2 of 3, 66.6%. The Packers are 13th in the league, 59%. They were 0 for 4 in the red zone today. Our defense held them to 0 for 4. The one touchdown they had was a deep pass to Lazard. So, yeah, we had a good offensive day, decent defensive day, but we'll come back to that. You know, we were 0 for 2 on fourth down. I was kind of glad we didn't go for it on fourth down all that often. The Packers went for it on fourth down more than we did.
I think they were 0 and 4 on their fourth down.
Yeah, they were 1 for 4.
1 for 4.
But so what'd you think in the first quarter, first drive? It's 4th and 1 from the 7. From the 7. Now I get if you turn it over on downs, they're deep, deep back on the field. I understand it, but take the points, man. You're on the 7-yard. I don't know. I didn't like the call.
Yeah, there was a lot that went wrong with that play. But before I get into my thoughts about it, I just want to say hi to those who are already here right now. Paul Jarose, Cassandra Braden, Micro Mike is in the building. Live Rumble 81, Batman of the 313, your good buddy Stephen Forrest, and Maniac Tim is in the building. So you guys, welcome. Thanks for hanging out with us. If what you drinking tonight? Because I know you're celebrating. But that first play, I mean, Jerry Jacobs made a great stop. Kirby Joseph had knocked the ball away on a throw that was right to the end zone. But wait, am I?
Yeah, their first drive it was deflected off someone's.
Oh no, I read the wrong one. Kennedy failed to catch in the end zone. That's what it was. Okay, they did have an explosive first drive until they got to the end zone. Sorry, my notes were on the second half. Kennedy failed to catch on the end zone going on the 4th and 1, and then instead of getting a field goal, they go for it.
They drove right down the field. I mean, Swift had a big break. He had a 20-yard run. They were moving right along. I thought it was a strange call. It's call that I felt like Dan Campbell would have made at the beginning of the season. I thought he had sort of learned his lesson a little bit, and those weren't the scenarios in which you would necessarily go for it.
Well, I figure it's so early in the game, maybe the thought was, let's test out the waters early and see what happens. Jan Campbell's known for
Yeah.
being aggressive. It wasn't it's really the first drive. Let's test
They
the
also
waters.
passed it. Why pass it there? Not only did they pass it, but the way they lined up, they literally lined up with nobody blocking Rashawn Gary, who ran right in, almost had a sack. Goff barely got rid of the ball. Rashawn Gary hit him hard.
That's
I don't
been a
know.
major
Everything about that was a little strange to me.
And that's been a major problem for me because they keep wanting to make Goff a passer. He's not. He's a game manager. He's a run the ball type of guy. There's time. Yes, you're going to have to make him pass every once in a while, but you can short to intermediate pass him every once in a while. You don't have to be doing this stuff with him that he's just not good at. You know, for me, I thought he played a decent game today. A lot of Lions fans just kind of disagreed with me today, and they want to get rid of Goff. But look, there's arguments for that, y'all. I mean, it was. I have no sympathy right now. If you don't like Goff, I don't have any sympathy whatsoever because I heard a lot of people say, "Oh, anybody's going to be better than Stafford," and both Jim and I said, "Careful what you wish for." And you get Goff. Now you want another quarterback. And you're going to be careful what you wish for because you haven't built this team yet. So you're going to get the same results. So this is kind of dumb to be wanting to get rid of this quarterback right now instead of building the team. Even as bad as he is right now. But you got to think about this though. Goff is playing right now. What? You had $37 million worth of guys sitting on the bench on IR for a lot of this season.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a so day on offense. We only scored 15 points. It ended up being enough to win. But yards wise, Green Bay beat us. I mean, we had 254 total yards, 137 of them were passing, 117 on the ground. Green Bay had 389, 283 passing. They only had 106 on the ground, so we stepped up a little bit there. But yeah, we didn't have a great offensive day. We didn't need to because the defense stepped up today.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. And I know Goff tried to almost throw the game away too, but you got to think he only had one interception, and Aaron Rodgers had three. I mean, against the worst defense in the league.
Mm-hmm. Actually, this was kind of funny. Statistically, coming in by DVOA and EPA, rushing defense, Green Bay's worse than us on rush defense. Only rush defense. They're much better than us in pass defense, mostly because of their pass rush there. I was thinking of you because we had a bunch of receivers out there, or I'm sorry, their secondary is really bad, and we had a bunch of sort of younger rookie receivers. We didn't have a great receiving core. And it was the same way on opposite sides of the ball. They have a bunch of receivers out there that always go the wrong way and run the wrong routes. There was that really funny game where they ran into each other, running bad routes. And we have a secondary who normally, what do you call them? The blind ballerinas. It was such a funny matchup today. It was literally two bad teams on both sides of the ball. And it was just who could duke it out and make the fewest mistakes. And that was us.
I had said coming into this that this was going to be an offensive shootout, which really wasn't much.
A lot of people thought that.
It really wasn't much of an offensive shootout, but in some ways it was. I mean, neither team has a defense to save their life, and it's not really, but and of course Green Bay to the Lions' advantage here. Green Bay had a couple of injuries right off the bat that were really significant to hurt them. Good thing. I don't pray for injuries, but hey,
Yeah, I mean, in the first quarter, Dobbs, their guard, Runyon, and Stokes all left the game. And I don't think any of them came back. Rodrigo, of course, got injured in the first quarter too, but he came back in. And then in the third quarter, they lost Rashawn Gary. But we lost Aquara and Kirby. Aquara got carted off for concussion protocol. They forced him off the field. Then, yeah, they did lose Aaron Jones in the third quarter. That was pretty rough. But yeah, Bakhtiari and Rodrigo didn't play the second half. They were both out.
I know we got Grandizer and we got the ladies' man LL. I can't wait for your reaction tomorrow because I know you're gonna be lit tomorrow. But but yeah, I mean, yeah, some of the things that hurt the Lions' offense were the penalties. That they were stupid penalties. You had Decker screwing up again. You had Kennedy getting a holding call.
Ragnow had what do you have, a false start?
Yeah.
In the third quarter?
I think was it Ragnow that had it, or was it somebody else?
I don't know who's 77.
It could have been some. Yeah, I know there was a false
77. Start. So, yep, Ragnow had a false start, and then 89. Who's number 89? I don't even have that on here. Oh, Brock Wright.
Yeah, Brock Wright. That's another penalty.
Yeah, he had the holding penalty in the fourth quarter. That was a badly timed penalty too. But Packers had more than we did. I mean, they had 8 total penalties for 81 yards. And we had seven penalties for 62 yards, 61 yards, something like that.
And they had 50 million delay of game penalties that weren't called.
Yeah, that's a weird one because we had that incident last year with the Ravens where they didn't call the delay of game and it should have been called. And then, of course, they went out and kicked the field goal and 66-yard field goal and beat us. I didn't really think any of those were penalties. I knew Rodgers was right on the line. But after last year's game, they came out and explained, yes, there's a judge. He is looking at the clock. The second it hits 0, he moves his eyes down to the ball. If the ball is moving, it's not a penalty. So there is, some leeway there. And I didn't think there were any instances today where it was too much. That Ravens game last year, that was something else. It was a full 2.5 seconds before the ball was snapped after the clock hit 0. But yeah, Rodgers was within the margin of error, I would say.
Yeah, there was quite a few of them that I went, yeah, that was, you were getting lucky on that one. It was Decker that got the false start.
He had a false start in the second quarter. Third quarter, Ragnow had one.
Yeah. I didn't see the Ragnow one, though. I do know that Decker was just, as usual, just... Ugh. And then what is it up with them resetting the game clock for them a million freaking times? Goodness gracious. I'm like...
Was that on that fumble that he fumbled it out of bounds and they weren't sure if Okudah had it inbounds or out of bounds? Was that?
Yeah, play? There was that, and they reset it twice and went in that once right after the other.
Okay.
In 2 different plays. It was that play and then the next one where they got the game clock reset. Kept giving them time. I'm like, good gracious. Let's just show that you're here for Green Bay. Why don't you? It made no damn sense.
Hey, I hate Green Bay too.
Mm.
If you want to say the refs were working for them, I'm not going to argue against you.
But I'm going to give you all some stats on Goff here against Green Bay. Since Goff has been here, the Lions have beat Green Bay 2 out of 3 times. Before he got here, you lost 4 times in a row over 2 years.
Are we going to point out that one of those times was the last week of last year where they only played their starters for the first half of the game?
It was no. They
won the
last one.
So yeah, we beat them the last week of the year because they were going to the playoffs and they sat their starters after the first half. That said, a win's a win.
A win's a win. I don't care. Okay, the stat. We're going on the stats, y'all. Because the stats matter more. Okay, the stats is forget the wins. I mean,
Yeah,
the
10 years
stats
from
matter.
now, all we're going to remember is that we won that game. It's not going to matter who started.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I mean, let's see.
Can we talk about the defense? I'm dying here. I want to talk about the defense.
Okay. Go to the defense, girl. Go to the defense. What you got for us on the defense? Because I know
I have so much on the defense.
I know the chat really wants to get at me about one guy in particular on the defense, but you go ahead and
we'll
get
around
your
to.
insight.
I promise we'll get around to the Illini guy. Okay, we'll get to him. Okay, just start out. Couple stats on the defense here. Barnes had 12 tackles today, a sack and a tackle for loss. So good for him. Kirby, the guy we're not going to talk about yet, he had 10 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a couple pass breakups. Elliott and Anzalone both had 7 tackles. Will Harris, who I'm still not the biggest fan of, had 6. Akuda and Aquara had 5, and then Rodrigo had 4. And I'm going to say that's a good day because he only played the first half. So as well as I think the defense played, because the Packers only scored 9 points today, there are still some glaring issues, and they drove me crazy all game long. And one big one is that, man, our defense makes these like statue pocket passers look like mobile quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers is not a mobile quarterback. He was the Packers' number 1 rusher today. He was number 1. He had more rushing yards than A.J. Dillon or Aaron Jones today. Aaron freaking Rodgers. Yeah, that's crazy. That, and then their chunk plays. I mean, if you go look at our receivers, nobody had more than 9 yards because I mark it. Anytime a receiver gets more than 10 yards, I mark it in my notes. We didn't have any. Shout out to Jackson and Williams, who both rushed. One had 14 and 11. So we rushed for a couple long ones, but 0 big chunk receptions. Here's Green Bay's list of chunk receptions. Lazard, 47 yards long. DeGuara, 25 yards. Torre, 32 yards. Tunyon, 17. Watson, 18 yards. Jones, 15 yards. Mercedes Lewis, 19 yards. Romeo Doubs, 18 yards. How the hell does a team have that many receivers with 15-yard or more chunk plays? That's unbelievable. I mean, I know we had some flashes in the secondary today, but come on. That is bad coverage.
True, but Green Bay is known to be that pass, and then the Lions like to use the bend don't break for the most part, which is horrible.
I know. I hate that. And at least they are doing a decent job at really getting to them at the point of reception and making those tackles quickly before they can get yards after the catch. But that doesn't help you so much if the quarterback's throwing it 20 yards. It was really frustrating.
For me, there are problems with the defense. But a lot of those problems are simply because, number one, you don't have the talent level that you need to have on this in a lot of different positions. Number two, so you're screwing up the play calling because of that a little bit. I saw some play calling that was like, why are you doing that? Mm-hmm. Because you screwed that play call up, Aaron Glenn. I mean, there was a few things that I saw that were like, why did you line up for that? Like that way. But overall, I saw a vast amount of improvement to the defense, despite the fact hold them to Green Bay to a shutout in the first half is no easy task, especially when this team is known to have blind ballerinas in the backfield, which did not happen today. So there's something
for the most part. There were a couple guys who definitely weren't where they were supposed to be, and they were off their mark.
They were off their mark, but they were off their mark in a way that it wasn't just spinning around like I have no clue of what I'm doing on the field. Yeah. Okay, a lot of those they were out. They were kind of burnt on the they were burnt on the play a little bit here or there. They weren't just fast enough to match up.
Well, what do you make of that? Because this is the first game where I thought it actually looked like they knew what they were doing a lot of the time. And it's the first time that Aubrey Pleasant hasn't been there for the week. Do you make anything of that?
Yes, I do. I've said for the first, and I was one of the first people to say that Aubrey Pleasant was going to be the first one out the door. And of course he was. What I honestly believe, and there was evidence of it on the field the last game, that Aaron Glenn and Aubrey Pleasant were not on the same page. Some of that could be the factor of why you saw a lot of that, where there was the secondary and the line were not matching up in what they were trying to do.
Well, yeah, Campbell kind of addressed that after the Dolphins game last week. It was the first time in a press conference I actually thought to myself, ooh, he came close to blaming the players. And then the next day, they announced that Aubrey Pleasant was fired, and I was like, oh, he wasn't almost blaming the players. He was almost blaming some of his other coaches, because he came out and said the game plan had been to disrupt at the line. And they just weren't doing that at all. They were letting these Dolphins receivers just run right past him, right downfield. And Campbell seemed really, really frustrated by it. So yeah, maybe they weren't on the same page.
That's what I honestly believe that led to Aubrey Pleasant's downfall, is that he was not on the same page. Because if you notice that what has been the major message coming out of Sheila Hamp, I don't want to say Sheila Forkamp, but we changed the name, okay. And the front office regime is that they must present a unified front. Okay? And so if Aubrey Pleasant wasn't showing that, of course he was going to be the first to be out the door. If you're arguing with the head guy on these plays, you've got players that are granted he didn't have much to work with in the first place, but if you're not matching up with the same mind, when you already got a decimated defense, that's just not going to get you anywhere. You're going to be spinning wheels.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that was the main reason, because the Lions were 20th overall in defensive back spending, which actually seems high until you remember that Okudah was a 3rd overall pick. So most of the defensive back spending goes toward him. If you take him out, the Lions are 31st out of 32 teams in defensive back spending this offseason. Given how bad our secondary is, why is that? Well, there was sort of an assumption after taking guys like, Jerry Jacobs and AJ Parker last year and actually coaching them up a bit, that we could stick with who we have and maybe develop them. But they didn't even start off this year where they left off last year. They regressed from last year. So I thought there could have been some issues going forward as far as he wasn't doing what was promised, and that was developing these guys. I did think they would give him until the end of the season. So the fact that he got fired in the middle of the season, yeah, I think you're right. I think it was more a, not communication issue so much, but just a not on the same page issue.
Yes, I will admit it, y'all. I will admit it, y'all, because I know you're trying to force me in this chat to admit it. So I'm just going to go admit it that Kirby Joseph had a great game today, okay? But then again, he's on a team that's playing in the Pee Wee leagues. Yeah, anybody can look good, okay?
He just beat Green Bay. He just picked off Aaron Rodgers twice. What are you talking about, Pee Wee leagues?
Okay, yeah. See, it's going to be pick on Val week because it's going to be Bears versus Lions next week. So y'all can torture me.
I hope Kirby Joseph has like 4 interceptions next week. That would be beautiful.
Didn't we? Me and Kurt had we had a bet going on for somebody. Dan, remind me of the bet. You're in the chat. Remind me of this bet because I done forgot it. Where Kurt was going to have to wear a Bears hat if he lost, and I was going to have to wear somebody's jersey. Who was it? I can't remember. Whose jersey do I have to wear?
Please be Kirby Joseph.
It wasn't Kirby
Please.
Joseph. Oh, it was a JMO. Because the bet is
That's not a punishment.
Yes, because
Kurt, make her wear Kirby
we
Joseph.
have a bet going on whether or not JMO plays this season.
You don't think he does?
And I don't think he does. He has to play an entire full game for me to lose.
Okay.
He can't go out with an injury in the middle of the game. He's got to play a whole game.
If he goes out with an injury after rehabbing for 11 months, that would be an issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing on defense, because we do need to get to Kirby Joseph. Something that was just driving me crazy because it's burned us all season long, and it's mobile quarterbacks. And Aaron Rodgers is the farthest thing from a mobile quarterback. He's old and he doesn't run. He's literally called, I've heard him called on ESPN a statue passer because he doesn't leave the pocket.
He can when he wants to.
He can when a defense opens up the entire middle of the field. And he did
it when we faced the Bears, and he said, "I own the Bears." So yes, he has it. There's quite a few flashes where he does that.
The Packers converted, to our credit, they only converted 8 of 15 third downs. But some of the third down conversions were really, really ugly. In their very, very first drive, it was 3rd and 10. Rodgers scrambles for 10 on 3rd and 10. Listen, it was when it happened too. In the third quarter, it was 3rd and 8. Rodgers, granted, he only scrambled for 7, but they still got the first down because of that stupid Harris hands to the face penalty. Then 3rd and 17, 3rd and long. Rodgers scrambles for the first down. Oh my gosh, just the timing of it. 3rd and long, an undesigned quarterback scramble. I don't know. I had my head in my hands for those plays.
He does that though. He's like a little worm in the pocket. Like
this is not typical. I mean, we already talked about he's the Packers' number 1 rusher today.
I don't know. Not so much in that he runs like blasts out of pocket or something a lot, but he does do a lot of evading in the pocket. He does a lot of quarterback scrambles.
And he's been moving more this year because that line has just been trash. I mean, they've been playing musical chairs with that line. They've been moving people all around, and sometimes Bach is healthy, and sometimes he's not, and sometimes Jenkins is in, and sometimes he's not. They've had trouble with their O-line this year.
Well, I was able to watch his press conference afterwards.
Aaron Rodgers?
Yes. And he flat out admitted that he played shitty football today.
How big of him?
However, he also decided to throw in his little cockiness as usual when he says, you just can't lose against that team.
So in that being shared, meaning like that crappy team?
That team against that team, and it was without
such a douchebag.
That team.
He's such a douchebag.
And that's where you got your name, Lioness douchebag, because we live in douchebaggy land with this guy. So
I've said it before, and I mean it. He is a douchey, man-bunned man baby that needs to have that twat knot smacked off of his overly inflated head. Oh, and we just kicked his ass. So I guess, like you said, So
with my Bear fandom behind me, I can't be quiet. So my little cocky ass decides to go and say, "Oh, you mean that team that owns you?"
You're not wrong.
Because they done beat you 2 out of the last 3 games, and you've lost 5 games now in a row, which has not happened since 2008. How's them apples, baby?
If we have to suck, It's at least a silver lining that they suck too.
Drink that Heaven's Gate Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid, Aaron Rodgers. So I hope you discount double choke, okay?
Wouldn't it be beautiful if we swept that team? Man.
Oh, yeah. Anytime Green Bay loses, it's just a great day. So we've got to go in and brag because the whole chat wants to brag about Kirby Joseph today. So we got to brag about Kirby
All right.
Joseph.
Let's talk about Kirby Joseph. Val, you should go first. Sing his praises. I want to hear it.
Kirby Joseph had a wonderful game today. I'm not going to say anything different. Some of the things he had, he had an interception that I saw. He had, he was balling out today. I'm gonna say he had a game.
Yep.
He
had
had
a pick in the end zone, a pass deflection, then that third quarter Green Bay drive where it was 3rd and 11 and he knocked the ball away. And Aaron Rodgers just stood in the middle of the field yelling and stomping his feet. Oh, and then picked him off immediately after that. Yeah.
So I'm going to be a hypocrite and go, well, it takes somebody from Illinois to,
That is hypocritical.
Yeah, that is hypocritical.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but that's okay.
The best part of that particular drive where he batted the ball away and then got the pick immediately afterward was just before that, Christian Watson had caught a ball for a big 3rd down conversion. Like it looked like momentum was with the Packers. And I think they felt like that too. I think that's why Aaron Rodgers was so frustrated when on the next 3rd down, he couldn't convert it. Yeah. That was probably the best drive of the game.
I mean, yeah. And I gotta say, he played a great game. I mean, there's nothing that I can say against him for it. I mean, he stepped up. Good for him. Somebody needed to step up in his backfield for a change. So I'm not even mad. Not mad. I could wear a Kirby Joseph jersey if I needed to, for this game and this game only. But will I make him the ball out player of the game? We'll find out. I don't know.
All right, let's talk about our quarterbacks.
Okay,
Goff and Rodgers. I mean, I can spew some numbers here, but any thoughts on Goff and Rodgers today?
Goff owns Rodgers. I guess all I can say. Goff
owns Rodgers.
You know what?
I love it.
You got to be salty because Goff did the job. Okay.
Yeah, barely. He had a very day today, but
with what he's working with, I ain't even worried.
We'll go with Rodgers first. Just get that douchebag out of the way. He went 23 for 43 passes, which is about 53%, 291 yards, a touchdown, and 3 beautiful interceptions. Goff went 14 for 26, which is 54%, so they weren't really that different. 137 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Goff's QBR was not good. I don't know what his passer rating was on the day. It would be higher, but his QBR total for the day was a 28.3. But Rodgers was a wonderful 24.8, and he only had a 53.5 passer rating today. Right by the eye test, Rodgers looked like he had a really, really bad day, and Goff seemed like he just had kind of a meh day. By the numbers, though, yeah, Rodgers was statistically a little worse, but he had a lot more yards. Probably because of those big chunk plays. I mean,
Because
yardage-wise,
he's a better
he
passer.
outplayed Goff.
You're technically going to get those bigger yards when you're a passer quarterback versus the run game.
Listen, I know the secondary made some plays, but they're still going up against the worst pass defense in the league. We are still a bad pass defense. I mean, the number of times like Will Harris got burned, even Akuda, I marked a couple times, they just got beat. Will Harris over and over. Remember last week I said, what crazy person thinks it's a good idea to match up AJ Parker on Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle? Yeah, I was thinking that today. Will Harris on Alan Lazard. That was making no sense to me.
But
In man coverage?
I will bring out a point, though, knowing, and I will bring it from Bears history. Okay? There was a time that the Bears had a quarterback who I really liked, but he was a game manager quarterback, and they had a really, really terrible passer rating that year. But guess where they ended up? In the Super Bowl. The quarterback, Kyle Orton. So if you think Goff is Goffle,
we're not going to any Super Bowls.
Yeah, but they had a better team all around at the time. You don't have this whole team built around Goff yet. Goff has been to a Super Bowl. Goff has been to playoffs. Not with the Lions yet.
Do you think they may not draft a quarterback next year? Do you think Goff could be the guy?
Is Goff the guy? No.
Okay.
Here's the thing, guys. Do I think that the Lions are going to draft a quarterback? Yes, more than likely. I'm not against them drafting a quarterback. 100% not against it. But let me tell you that the choices that are available, even by NFL scout standards, which I have researched, are second string guys at best. Not a one is a franchise. By NFL scout standards and not by Lions NFL scout standards. So if you think you are going to get a franchise quarterback in the next draft, good luck with you. May the force be with you, because you're going to need it. Now, do you need a second string guy? Do you need somebody that can fill in where Goff is weak? I'm all for it. Get you a passer quarterback. If Goff screws up, throw his ass out. Get him in there. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. You've got another year to play with before you need to have somebody on the field, because Goff's contract is, you're going to save some money next year if you get rid of him early, but his contract, getting rid of him fully, isn't for, until after next year. So you could play around with this guy and not really need, with a new quarterback, and not need him to be a franchise guy. You can test the waters. Who knows what comes up after that?
Here's my problem. I did not have Josh Allen on my radar. And I've determined that I'm really, really, really bad at evaluating college quarterbacks and how they're going to do in the NFL. So I don't really do it anymore. I mean, I'm going to this year because I need something to do in the offseason. But yeah, as far as none of these top guys who everyone thinks is going in the first round could possibly be a great NFL franchise quarterback, you may very well be right. But one of those guys could definitely come out and end up being the best of all time. And no one's going to be able to accurately predict it right now. So
it's a stretch, because even the ones that have come out showed a lot more talent. That have come out as superstars has showed a lot more talent before they got drafted than what the guys are there. So I'm not seeing it. NFL scouts aren't seeing it. I know Lions fans have a lot of their emotions in this, but you know what? Don't let your emotions guide you because you did this already. Anybody, it was going to be better than Stafford. I said, no, they're not.
Who
The next
said
guy,
that?
a ton of
Really? I didn't
a
realize
ton of
Stafford
fans
was so
were
disliked.
were anybody's better than Stafford. Stafford sucks. We need to get another quarterback. Cause. Look, and Jim and I were both like, careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for, because the next guy's going to be worse. Oh no, he's not, because anybody could be better than Stafford. Yeah, you got Goff.
I'd rather have Goff this year than Stafford. I don't know if you've been watching these Rams games, but oof.
Okay, but okay, you'd rather have Goff. Okay, so you when you had all your guys that weren't sitting on the bench on IR, you were a number one offense. You stayed in it even when you lost a couple of guys. You were up in the top 10. And you want to get rid of the quarterback. Why? Simply
because the ceiling's only so high. And I mean, he does have a somewhat low ceiling. That doesn't mean you can't get
And do I
get
say
there
that you
with
need
him?
Yeah.
I
You do need to get
understand the
rid of him
desire for him.
eventually. I don't see keeping him for the amount of money that you got him for.
Yeah.
He's not worth the contract, but let the contract ride. You've got 2 years to make that decision. You're so focused on the quarterback because that's the most important position. Never mind the fact that you have a number 32 ranked defense. That doesn't help a quarterback out any bit whatsoever. And you got $37 million worth of guys sitting on IR. That doesn't affect your quarterback whatsoever. No, it's all Goff.
So since I'm not on social media, I got to ask, was everybody really down on Goff's performance today? Because it wasn't a great performance, but he certainly didn't lose it. If we'd lost the game, it wouldn't have been his fault. Let me just put it that way. So were people criticizing
I saw
Goff
a lot of
today?
it, and I have been doing the quarterback argument for an entire week. And I'm at the point I've made my I have given you the logic. I have given you the stats. I've given you all the background, and I hope you guys draft a quarterback. Because when that fails, I'm going to be laughing the entire time. Because what I'm going to hear is we never said that. We never said we didn't like Goff. Because it's exactly what you did. That's what many, not all of you. So many of our fans are very intelligent and would never do that. But okay, but yeah, I know you want the flashy quarterback. Bears got the flashy quarterback and they lost today. Okay. Stop.
Yeah, we have a good O-line and some receiving weapons, and we'll have more going into next year. I think we're in a very good position to welcome in and develop a quarterback. They're actually coming into a good situation. I will always feel bad for Justin Fields. I feel like the Bears just wasted that kid.
Oh, I called that when they drafted him. But oh no, I was wrong. I was so wrong. I was so wrong about that. You know what? I'm going to keep my opinions to myself. I'm just going to record them. I'm just going to record my prophecies from right on.
For posterity's sake, so they can all go back and see you were right.
Yes. And I'm going to be Nostradamus. And
all right.
There's a couple.
All right.
There's a couple guys right now that are messing with my predictions, but yeah, it's got to happen eventually. But the Queen is going to.
The Illini were due to have somebody good come out of there. It was statistically likely that someday they were going to produce a decent NFL player.
You know when the last time that was?
The only person I know who came from Illinois was Geronimo Allison. He's the only one I can think of.
The last well-known, great player out of Illinois, the Illini, was Mike Ditka.
Really? Wow, that was a long ass time ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, then, like I said, they were due.
Yeah, and old timer Dave here, Green Bay fan, is in the building too. Yes, you did call this game the way that it went down. So congratulations to you on your loss. I can't.
Congratulations on your loss.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I have to mess
Yep.
with old timer Dave because he gave me a hard time on Friday. So yeah, I have to give him a hard time. So
Well, can we talk about some good stuff? Some stuff that got me super excited about this game. The rookies and young guys stepping up. It was a bunch of rookies, but it wasn't just rookies. There were some second-year guys too. But you had Kirby, obviously, had himself a day. Hutch had an interception. James Mitchell, he got his very first NFL catch last week against the Dolphins. One catch. He doubled that today. He had 2 catches, but his 2 catches, one was a big third down conversion and one was a touchdown. So good for him. Shane Zylstra, it's only his second year in the league. He got a touchdown. And your guy, Barnes, Jim's guy, Barnes, he got himself a sack and a tackle for loss. And yeah, 12 tackles today. He had a good day.
One of the things that I pointed out, because when we were talking on Free for All Friday, that one of the keys to victory for the Lions was going to be pressuring Aaron Rodgers. And that's what I saw a lot out of Hutch this game. He pressured the hell out of him.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
There were times that he tried to overdo it, but but in those overdos, those were the wrong play calls in the first place. That was where I was talking about where Aaron Glenn did the wrong play call because they were the play call scheme did not match up with what Green Bay was going to do.
Hutch has a tendency to over pursue. We kind of know that. There were a lot of times when Aaron Rodgers just had forever. He just stood back in the pocket for 8-10 seconds on a couple of occasions. So it was really frustrating. Then there were other times when we were really getting at him, but he was able to get out of it and throw it away or throw on the run or run it himself. And we've talked about this in the past too. The Lions' front four is not able to generate pressure on their own. So in order to get pressure, they have to manufacture it by bringing guys up from the second and a lot of times the third level too. I mean, not just the linebackers, but actually, blitzing the safeties. There was a lot of second level manufactured pressure today. And then all the defensive backs were back, basically it was pulling our defense in half. We had the entire first and second levels of defense rushing forward to try and get pressure on him. And we had all of our defensive backs deep. And that it was opening up the middle of the field. Every time that Aaron Rodgers ran, it was because he had this wide open middle of the field because that's what we did. A really good defense. You know who's surprisingly good at this? The freaking Washington Commies. The way they are able to generate pressure by rushing 4 is really, really impressive. And we're just not quite there. Pascal has helped. I think we're in a good position going forward. They are just not there yet.
Yeah, speaking of which, I forgot to show the scores on the game because the Vikings did beat them, so
The Bills lost today to the Jets.
But yeah, so it. But
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you tell me why everybody is saying that the refs lost the Bears that game? Because I didn't see it, and I didn't get to see any replays or anything. Because the Dolphins beat the Bears today.
I don't know. I mean, I was watching both games at the same time, but
a lot of penalties.
So much going on. Yeah, there was a lot of penalties. There was so much going on with the Lions game that I was half paying attention. I do know that it was so close there at the end, and there was a lot of calls being going on, and so where it just hurt their momentum in being able to score.
Were there any questionable ones where people, like it was clearly a pass interference that wasn't called, or clearly it wasn't pass interference that was called, or was there something that pissed the fans off?
I don't know, because I was watching it unfold, but I wasn't really paying attention that closely.
Yeah.
So, but I know Fields was throwing up some crazy numbers. There was one play where he booked it for 42 yards himself into the end zone. He was putting up some crazy numbers today.
Yeah, I mean 32 to 35. That's some offense.
Yeah, and it was in watching the score of the game, it was a battle back and forth. It was so close the entire game, and then there were moments where who's the first play? Yeah, where the Dolphins were up, quite a bit. I mean, it was a couple scores in, higher, and then Fields would come back on them, but it was just a game that just didn't go their way. Yeah. And that's a problem right now for the Bears, because they killed the Monsters of the Midway. Absolutely killed them by getting rid of Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn. That defense is shattered right now. So coming into the next game, where it's Lions versus Bears, if the Lions pull off the same game plan, but tweak it a little bit better, where Goff is not doing the pass, doing the run game, y'all have to do the run game on the Bears. That will be the win.
I'm not very scared of the Bears secondary. I mean,
Bears secondary is trash. Their wide receiver core is trash. That new guy we acquired is trash. Claypool.
Oh, the new receiver. Yeah, he's he a receiver?
Yes, he couldn't. Justin Fields tried to dink and dunk it to him. He is 2 feet away, and
yeah, I mean, the wide receiver quarterback relationship is, you got to give them a little time to develop some chemistry.
Yeah, it did not go well. And they already have a terrible time with wide receiver anyway. They don't have anything. Mooney's their best guy, which he's mediocre at best.
My biggest worry with this game is how Justin Fields can run. We have shown we cannot stop mobile quarterbacks.
Justin Fields is
and they design runs for him.
Correct.
He is a runner. They will design runs. Yeah, we have to figure out how to stop it.
Is the biggest, and you really should go, and the right tackle for the Bears position is the weakest.
Okay.
So if you can smack the crap out of that, you can get to Justin Fields.
Should be a good day for Pascal and Hutch then, huh?
Mm-hmm. Rodrigo might be the threat there.
Yeah. I was thinking of you today, and your whole, for God's sake, Jared Goff, run the damn ball. Stop passing the ball.
Do you know how many times I wrote that today in chats?
I'm sure. Well, because as you know, I count passes and run plays, and my count is different than the official count, because if there's a penalty or something like that, I don't take it off of my count. So here's what I got, and boy, is it interesting. And if you were a Packers fan, because listen, as annoyed as you get about Goff passing and them not running, all year long, all I've heard from Packers fans is run the damn ball. And I don't know if it's Aaron Rodgers' fault. I don't know whose fault it is. But holy crap. All right, so first we'll do Lions passing. First quarter, they passed 6 times, they rushed 6. Second quarter, they passed 7 times, they rushed 9. Third quarter, they passed 8, they rushed 10. There you go, rushing more than they're passing. Fourth quarter, they passed 7, they rushed 5. Now the Packers numbers. No wonder they keep losing games, man. First quarter, they passed 12, rushed 6. Second quarter, they passed 7, rushed 5. Third quarter, they passed 9, rushed 5. in the fourth quarter, and I know they were down and they were playing from behind, but it hadn't been working for them all damn day. They passed the ball 19 damn times. 19. And they only ran it 4 times in the fourth quarter. Now, listen, I know Aaron Jones got injured and he went out, but he's not all you have. AJ Dillon might be better than Aaron Jones, or probably not, but they're just not giving Aaron Jones the ball very much. 19-4 pass versus run plays. Yeah, I was thinking of you. It's like, no wonder they lost this game. They wouldn't do what Val said. Run the damn ball.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
you don't know how many times I should actually screenshot that and put that up in a community chat. How many times and it's in all caps, okay?
Listen, we weren't horrible. Like there was never a huge like disparity between how much we were passing versus running. And there were, yeah, actually the second and third quarters we ran it just a little bit more than we passed it. So it could have been worse.
So we're going to have a very special announcement for you guys. But before we do, we've got to get into. I mean, you're going to love this announcement, Joe. So you guys to stick with us. We got to get to the ball on and balled out players of the game.
Okay, well, I'm going to go first because I'm going to say the guy balled out that you refuse to say. Since you refuse to say it, I get to go first.
He who shall
Kirby Joseph balled out. 2 picks, one of them in the end zone, 2 deflected passes, one of them on third down. He made Rodgers throw a hissy fit in the middle of the field. Oh, it was glorious. And then right after that hissy fit, picks him off again. It was wonderful. Kirby Joseph balled out today. Who you got?
Okay, so for me, because I'm not going to go Kirby Joseph, y'all, I have to give a special shout out, not on my behalf of myself, but as you guys know, my late husband, Jim, is the founder of this channel. And his guy was, y'all know who his guy was, Derek Barnes. That's going to be my balled out player of the game. Because I know for a fact that Jim was up there screaming at him to play today, which he did. He did some hurting on Rodgers. He did a lot of good things today, and his name doesn't necessarily get called so much. This is the first time we've really seen him shine. So Derek Barnes, in honor of Jim, you get the player of the boss out player of the game. Now, my honorable mention will go to Jerry Jacobs. Another name you don't get to hear much. He did a lot of good things. He did a lot of good stops today. You got to give him some defensive credit. So I'm going to give the defensive side of the ball some love today because you finally showed up on the field at least somewhat today.
I'll agree with Jerry Jacobs just because he's out there. I'm glad to have him back. I look forward to seeing him starting in the future.
So, balled on.
Okay, well, I have 2. So I'm going to let you go and see who you pick so I can say the other one. So who you got?
You know, I had a really tough time with this one because this game kind of got out of whack a little bit. But I'm gonna have to. There's 2 guys that I'm just gonna have to say that were to me were the most obvious as being, and I'm not gonna pick on golf for this game. So okay, Akuda got burnt a lot, but my bald on, and I don't know if you're gonna agree with me on this one or not. We don't know yet, but Will Harris has got to be the number 1 guy as being the bald on player of the game.
Yeah.
Will Harris was absolute cheats.
Yeah, he gave them a first down by penalty when Rodgers was a little bit short on that 3rd and 8 run. He got burned a number of times, particularly by Lazard. It was not a favorable matchup. There aren't a lot of favorable matchups with him in press coverage. So I agree with Will Harris. I actually have Jamal Williams. And the main reason is this is his old team. You know, he wanted to go out there and have a career day based, compared to how he's done in the other games this season. This wasn't a great day for him. He had 24 carries for 81 yards. That is 3.4 yards per carry. Not great. He did convert a number of third and shorts. I mean, he didn't have an awful day. Like you said, besides Kirby Joseph, no one had an excellent day, and no one had a horrible day either. But I thought it was a little bit of a down day for Jamal Williams.
Yeah, it was not. You kind of expected more out of him in this game, especially since that was his old team.
I thought he'd be so motivated. Yeah.
You would expect a lot more of his flair than he usually has, and it just did not show up today. And I don't know if that was done on purpose or he just did not show up the way he needed to.
So normally we would start looking ahead to next week, but as it happens, next week we play the Bears. So Val, you want to mention what we're kind of thinking for next week?
So next week we are thinking about doing something that we have not done here on
and we're not
Lions.
Sure if technology-wise we can pull off yet. So we're going to work on that.
We have not yet pulled this off on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Okay? But I know how y'all love my reactions to things. So we are going to plan on doing a live during the game play reaction to the Bears Lions game. We are going to stream during the game. I will be covering the Bears offense, and Nicole hopefully will be covering the Lions offense.
So yeah, Val, you can't wear two hats next week. You are just a Bears fan for this 1 week.
Yep, I will be in full Bears mode on Sunday. So instead of Lioness Lair, we are going to be streaming live. Now, guys, give us a break because we both live in areas that we're probably going to be behind y'all in the stream. But
yeah, I have to stream the game on Apple TV on the NFL Sunday Ticket. I don't get it here. So,
but we will be doing a live race. We can't show the game, but we will be keeping you updated and keep giving you the reactions. And you never know what you're going to hear coming out of my mouth. I will be. I'm looking for the drinks next week. So make it even more fun. Okay, but we are because it's I wanted to kind of do this for this game for a specific reason. Because the last time that the Lions and Bears were supposed to play was the day Jim died. And we were supposed to go to that game together. That was a big, huge rivalry in our house. And we made this a Super Bowl event every game. And we were going to be able to go to that live, and we did not make it. So, in honor of his memory, we are going to stream live as a live reaction, and I'm going to be with all the Proud Nation family, so you guys can support Jim against me that game. You guys can play Jim for me, okay? So
I am looking forward to seeing you unfiltered for 3 solid hours.
I am going to be y'all see me on Free for All Fridays. You are going to get a full-blown taste of me watching a Bears game. You ain't seen nothing yet. So make sure you tell your friends and share this news, because Everybody's going to want to see this. Lord help us, Kurt Steele comes in and says, Lord help us all. He knows. He knows. Because he knows that I have an inner Medea. And if you don't know who that is, go look her up. But I am the white Medea. So wait till you watch me watch a Bears game. So that's what we're going to do for that in honor of Jim. We love you, Jim, on this channel and all of that. And Thanksgiving weekend, we will be doing a 1-year tribute instead of Free For All Friday. So, you guys, victory is ours for today. Green Bay lost. Joy to the world. Green Bay has lost. That the Lions reclaim their fame. Okay, I'm going into Christmas talk. Wait a minute.
All right, we've gone over.
Okay, we're gone over. So until next time, we will be live on Sunday. So make sure to check us out, and make sure to check out the guys tomorrow when they have their Victory Monday and share their thoughts to today's games. You know it's going to be good. I know LL's got some things in store. I know Coach Mike's got some things in store. You know that Kurt Steele is always off the rails as the gangster he is. So make sure you check in with us tomorrow, and we'll see you next week. FTP, baby, all day.
See y'all next week.